the button here I can push too.
Yeah. That's how it always goes, right? So, I got to tell you, I am going to end up telling my bad beach story, just so that you're aware. So, because I have to do that. So, the light counting out, you got to. What are you doing with it? Don't drop it. You got to set it there, and it's going to fall. Wrong way.
Oh crap!
There you go.
Oh no! I just destroyed my. I just reset my monitors.
Can you set it behind you? Oh yeah, you're way gone. You're so far gone, it's not even funny. Say something.
Hello.
There you are.
Now? Okay.
Now you're there.
All right.
Hey, out there in spray wash land. So Daniel Howerton's had a couple issues with some employees, so we're going to talk a little bit about it. We're going to talk about employees altogether. We've got to talk a little bit about the huge convention, and I got to put some links up that I was supposed to do ahead of time, but I got called away about an hour ago to go pick up Momo, which is grandma here, and because we got a storm of brewing, and she don't like being in her trailer when it's storming outside. So anyhow, there's that. Anyhow, Daniel is out of Rocky Mount, North Carolina. You've been in business since what, 2011, I think it was?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's been out there a good while. You're mostly a window licker, though, right?
Mostly, yeah. I love licking windows.
But you've developed into a lot more than that, though, right? Is that how you started out? Really, was just licking windows, and then you kind of.
I started off gutter cleaning, pressure washing, and window cleaning. As I've done that the whole time. I just always did it wrong. I did the windows right, but yeah, I started off doing the gutters and house washing and window cleaning.
Well, Ray and I have never done it right.
Now you credit one of your big. Yeah. True. You credit one of your big things that propelled you to the next level as going to Cabo, correct?
Yep.
And meeting a better class of window lickers.
Well, what I met in Cabo is I met people that are heavily invested in their business. Not to down talk any other conventions or anything, but Cabo is not cheap.
Yeah.
Cabo is a different level. And you're not going there. I mean, it's just a whole nother level. And the people that you meet are beyond dedicated. The relationships that you can build there will take you places. I mean, we've grown over 1,000% in 4 calendar years since Cabo.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
A lot of that comes from the relationships that I've built in Cabo.
Mm-hmm. And that's the difference.
The
other conventions, I mean, it may cost $1,500 to $3,000. Let's just throw out some round numbers to do a regular convention, and then you do Cabo, and you're probably bare minimum $5,000 to be able to just go, flight and hotel, and I mean the cost of the thing to be there. So people are heavily invested, just like you said. You were saying something, Ray?
Well, poof. I know. I was gonna say, and you're actually now a multi location. That was been your one of your new things is you've now grown and you're in multiple service areas with multiple offices. Correct.
Correct. We started covering a huge area in North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people. I had a lot of pushback when I started. Why are you going to start washing windows in houses? There's no money in that, this and that. Just nobody really thought that it was a good idea. And two, why was I driving 2.5 hours for a house wash? And I had these dreams of having this, multiple location franchise-like company. And it took me a long time. Like I said, I did it wrong for many years. But once I started doing things correctly, we opened up a RTP location last year. We're opening up a coastal location in January. We're shooting for the mountains the year after that. we've really built that territory that for years I covered by myself. We really built it up to where we have enough work, steady income coming in to be able to set up shop and have multiple locations.
And something else, just to brag on you a little bit, and in full disclosure, you and I are pretty tight friends as well too. I consider you one of my besties, and we talk a lot. But you are also a traveling window cleaner as well, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. For 50,000.
You were down in what, Tampa or Orlando? It was Orlando.
I went to Orlando.
Orlando. In fact, I want to share. I want to share. Can I share some photographs, Daniel?
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Daniel, now.
So, a job that a lot of guys may not may recognize in this. And Paul Cassander, Power Wash store, he called me and said, "Hey, when we had our convention down there, who do you know that would be interested in doing this?" And that's the SeaWorld DoubleTree. And I said, "I know one person that might be insane enough to consider this." And I called Daniel, and sure enough, as they say, the rest is history. And you took your team down there, and you washed the nasty hotel that everybody for years and years and years who's gone to conventions there have said, "Oh my God, look how absolutely horrific that hotel that project is." And you were the man that took it on and got it complete.
We washed that whole building in 4 days, and it used to take me 2 days to wash a house. And
That's a massive building to be doing.
Yeah.
That's a good portfolio right there.
He had a good equipment consultant.
There you go.
Put it like that.
And
Which made it a heck of a lot easier.
But and it really is a testament, and I don't mean anything at all to take away from Daniel's skill, because I would have never recommended him for the job had I not, felt that he wasn't just absolutely amazing and well qualified for it. But Daniel and I were talking, and the relationships you make in this industry with, you had Michael Draper who teamed up with you and got some stuff. You had me that jumped in to help you. And in fact, Tim Aselton and I were down there and walked, that project with you that time and gave some ideas and thoughts on there. And it's really, it speaks to the fraternity of this business, how it's so important to network and meet people and do things. And again, you'll do controlled descent and washing like that for other people as well, won't you, Daniel?
Oh yeah, and to going back to those relationships, I was talking to Trevor Shamblin earlier on the phone, and his first, convention, or I think it was maybe the first convention that he went to, was the Spray Wash Academy, which is the same one that I went to back in Tampa.
It was at that building.
2018, I think. Or end of 17, beginning of 18, which is where I won the trip to Cabo.
Right.
Which is where I actually really met you, Ray. Met Paul. Met Tim.
That's true.
Met Trevor. And then you fast forward a year after that, you're the one that connected me to Michael Draper.
Yep.
Actually, here where my office is, I bid that job, and I had to rappel off of that, and didn't know how to rappel, but I bid it because I figured if I got the job, I would learn.
You'd learn it.
But all that came from the first Spray Wash Academy training, and then Cabo. I mean, that all led up to that hotel. I mean, it's crazy when you piece it all together where it started.
It's that's a really, really, really cool story. And you still owe me, I think, $10 bet from that the Mills job.
No, you were drawing.
I think that should have some interest and taxes and penalties associated with it as well.
You might not remember this because you guys were all drinking at the Huge in Branson, Missouri. I stumbled upon, well, you guys were stumbling. I walked up on you guys watching a guy clean windows one night in Branson, Missouri. And
We were on our way out to dinner.
Yeah, do you remember that?
Yep.
So I paid you back then. You just don't remember it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think we have a picture of that actually. I don't.
Yeah. But we had Daniel, and what we're talking about is so the property, and it's actually where Daniel's office is that he's in right now. What was that? What was this repurposed building that you're in?
It's an old cotton mill. It's over 200 years old.
Cotton mill, and it's right on the river. And I told Daniel, I said, "Oh, you're going in that river before it's done. You know, there's no way you're going to be able to rappel this whole job and not fall in that river at least once."
So how did you get back? I mean, because that one shot, that's going down right towards the water. I just want to know how you got out of that.
I disconnected and swam around.
You swam around?
With the harness, hard hat, everything. I disconnected from my ropes and swam around, got on land, walked around the building. It's a 300,000 square foot building. So I walked about half of it to where the ladder was, climbed up the ladder. There's no elevators, no interior shafts to get up to the roof at that point. It was a miserable job.
Yeah. I can imagine.
Yeah, that was a long one. Well, we were talking, and I wanted to have you on, not just to brag about the incredible large jobs you do and your growth and our friendship, but you have some, and you're one of the few people that I actually write down some of the stuff that you say. And I've got a couple of Danielisms and Daniel quotes, but you and I were talking about employees, and you had, and it really reminded me about something I said to someone else recently, and along the same lines. But just tell us about this interaction you had with an attorney. I want to put it in your own words.
I have a young guy here that was doing really good. He worked with me when COVID hit. He was in high school at the time, did great, very mannerable, always showed up early, never even on time, always early. School went back in, so he went back. He moved off, went to a community college, and came back recently looking for a job. So just did a re-interview with him. He came aboard and really, picked it up like he was still doing it. So it started off great. I told him, this is what the starting wage will be. And then once you show that you're ready to be in a truck by yourself, I'll throw you the keys and you get bumped up. Well, that pay raise was a $3 pay raise per hour. So it was a significant pay raise. And he was doing everything the way he was supposed to do it. So I gave him the keys. The very first week he had the keys, he took almost 40 hours to do something that he could have done in 2 days. I scheduled myself like a day and a half to do it. It took him all week. And then after that, things just kept getting worse and worse. So I was we're beyond swamp. We're looking into July right now. And then obviously calls are just coming in. We've got a lot of big commercial stuff with very time-sensitive deadlines. So the other night I worked at 2 a.m. Got up at 5:30, worked all day, worked at 2 a.m, slept for 2 hours, and then left again at 6 a.m. So that's the type of time crunch we're working on right now. So I haven't been in a mood to discuss things with people. So that Thursday night, and I knew something was going to have to change because it's getting worse. But I haven't been in the mental state to have that conversation because it wouldn't have been fair to anybody. So that night, actually, that I was working till 2 a.m, I get a text at 9 something that evening, and it's him saying, "Hey, my dad just told me we're going on a family vacation to Florida next week. Is that okay?" And I just sat there and I was like, it doesn't make any sense why somebody would try to take a week off in the busiest week or busiest month that we've got going on right now, probably the busiest month of the year. So it aggravated me. I didn't respond to it. Went home, slept 2 hours, left, went to work. Every Friday morning, I've got a hour phone call with a business coach that I hired several weeks back or a few months back. And it's the first thing I mentioned to him. And I told him the backstory with how the guy has been declining with his work ethic and his productivity just across the board. And then, talked about requesting a week off. And he had a very good idea, which is pretty much word for word said what the coach said. He goes, tell him to take the week off, enjoy the time with his family, and think about if this is a job that he wants when he comes back. Does he want to continue to do this? And then explain, and he was funny. He was like, I know that you're on 2 hours of sleep right now, so don't attack him.
Never.
Come across calm and collective and make sure that your tone is accepting. Because you want him to be comfortable. You don't want him to feel backed in a corner. So I did. I told him, I said, I would love to see you succeed in this company because we are growing and we're growing fast. There's plenty of opportunities for plenty of people. But you're backtracking. So just think about if this is something that you want to continue to do. If it is, great. We're going to start fresh and work your way back up the way we originally did it. If you don't, there's no hard feelings. And I told him, I tell everybody, I want you to be happy. This isn't exactly a job where people are just thrilled. We got
excited every day, yeah.
Yeah, 97 degrees and you're spraying bleach, Mm-hmm. So I understand that it's not a career that people are just, I can't wait to go work in 97 degree weather and spray bleach all day. I get that. But we can make it a fun environment. And I want people to be happy. What can I do to make your job easier and make you happier at work? And if this isn't something that you're going to be happy at, that's fine. You don't have to work here, and I don't want you to work here. So we had a very calm and collective conversation, and he actually thanked me for talking to him instead of just firing him. Mm-hmm. And this was after I told him that if he decides that he wants to continue doing this, that he's going to start, when he comes back from his vacation, he'll start back at his starting hourly rate. He's not going to have a lead tech rate anymore until he proves himself ready for that position.
And it's obvious to me. I mean, you're not one of those guys that is a fly off the handle kind of guy. You're calm, cool, collective, for the most part. And it would be, I think it would be well perceived. It's not something where you're creating an environment that he doesn't want to be there. You know what I mean? Because I know sometimes I talk to guys and that's exactly the way they are. They create a situation that makes the employee not want to be there. And you're not that guy.
Yeah. I like that comment. Tell everybody how horrible this job is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody said I'm going to go.
No, absolutely. I used to do that on the interviews.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I mean,
but now tell me about the coaching idea, and you went a different route than most of the guys in the pressure washing industry. Instead of going with one of the pressure washing coaches, you went with an outside true business coach, correct?
I did, and I'll tell you the reason why. I am building my company to sell my company. I don't know when, but I spoke with a business broker that has a very good reputation in this area, well, in the Triangle, the Raleigh-Durham area. I spoke with him about things that I have in place and what are some things I need to put in place, if I want to sell in 5 or 10 years. And after that conversation, he referred me to my business coach, and it's somebody that he's worked with a lot. And I thought, what better connection than someone that sells businesses for top dollars. Mm-hmm. He's referring me to someone that builds businesses to earn top dollar.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I figured that was a pretty legit referral,
And the key for me on that is that
absolutely,
it's not just about, look, whether you decide in 5 or 10 years to sell your business or not, you're building your business to be a sellable business. And then when that 5 or 10 year mark comes down the road, you decide at that time, hey, you know what? This is great. I would rather have an office manager, and I just go to Tahiti or wherever it is that I want to go, and I don't have to run the company. I got somebody else running the company. I'm great with that. And a business coach can help you get to that point. And, then if you decide to sell, you have a good, viable, sellable product.
And, and like that, I talked to somebody recently who, he's at that 1.5 million a year mark, and he was seriously considering selling, and he owns some additional businesses too. And he's able to not work 100% in this business, and he owns some restaurants. And one of the things that, he said is, I started looking at the thing, and he really did want to sell because he thought he could take a nice big, golden parachute. And he said, man, whenever I looked at the money I made in this compared to the restaurants that we owned, it would just be foolish for me to give up this cash cow that we have here, because, whenever I consider that I'm a, 20% profit margin on the restaurant stuff, and I'm a 50% profit margin on this stuff, it would be really foolish to give up the most profitable aspect of what I'm making money at.
Yeah.
And it made sense. So there's a question here. Matthew Huffner said, about to hit 30,000 a month. Can I hire help now? God, nope, yes.
Absolutely.
I mean, 100%. I mean, it will, now I would also say that, is it a $30,000 a month anomaly, or is it a consistent $30,000 a month? And that is something a lot of people have a hard time. I've seen a lot of hubris with pressure washers going, yeah, I'm just busy man. I am so busy right now. And it's like, well, it's May.
If you're not busy, you got a problem.
If you're not busy right now, there's a problem. But if you're consistently out there booking that kind of thing, I mean, you need to hire help, because take it from 2 old guys and a young buck here, you can't continue going at that route. You can't continue going at that rate forever. You will,
and you
your
need
body
to have
will give
somebody
out,
answering.
you will burn out. Yeah, absolutely.
We say it all the time.
That's
number one.
Yep. Another hardcore grinder, Mark, just got in from a 10-hour day doing a 7-story garage,
Cool.
Hey, Mark, hope the back's and the shoulders feeling good. Doug, I'm sorry.
Daniel.
No, the other one. Not Daniel. Doug. No, not Doug. Daniel. Daniel. How do you feel about hiring family members?
Well, I'm a little different.
And I know that's a loaded question for you. So.
No, I don't mix. Well, I don't know how to I don't care who you are. When you're on the clock, you're not family, you're not a friend. Business is business.
That's exactly it.
Simple as that. So I don't care. You know, my dad does a lot of work with me on weekends and big commercial jobs. He works for the state, so he gets a lot of holidays off. And he gets all the holidays off. And I work with him and talk to him same way I talk to anybody else on the clock. I mean, business is business. This is what we got to do. This is what needs to get done. Let's get it done. You know, the issue that I think more people have is the person being hired may not have that mindset. And then they're going to get upset and sensitive. But, you know, business is business. I think, no, that's the way I am about it. Like my brother.
That's the important way to explain it too, though. When you get into that hiring phase of somebody that's a family member, you need to be able to let them know, you know, outside these walls we're family, inside these walls we're not. This is a working now with the caveat of everybody here is my family member. Okay, that's the way it is. But this is a business that's going to be run as a business. And, you know, there's not going to be any favoritism towards, you know, one direction or the other. It has to flow, and it has to flow correctly.
Yeah. It's like when somebody calls you, a friend calls you to wash their house, right? Or their business. You guys could be hanging out at a bar, wherever you are on Saturday night. He says, hey, I need you to come by and check out my house. Okay. When you show up Monday, what do? You sit there and hang out and shoot bullets and that? No, you go up there and you say, all right, what do you want to get done? Your business. You know, if someone wants to hire you, you don't sit there and screw around the whole time. You go up. For me personally, that's how I am. Yeah. It could be someone that I've known for 20 years. Oh, Ray, when you and I walked the property in Orlando, we weren't joking around the whole time. We sat there and we looked at it, and it was straight to business. It's like we weren't even friends. Strictly.
No, absolutely. I mean, when we were doing that, I mean, yeah. I mean, there's a time for fun and there's a time for business, and that was a time for business right there. And you know, I think you're 100% right. You know, and we're people. And Tanya was just always really good about reminding me and keeping me centered of, remember, treat spray wash like a business. And you know, it is about business. And I was probably softer than she, I was more of a softie than she was. And she continually, you know, reminded me of this. But when we look back over the annals of pressure washing history, and we hear of companies that have gotten in trouble and had issues, it's the ones that have really gotten away from treating their business like a business. It's the ones who are using the you know, business debit card like their own piggy bank. It's the one who are, you know, not running it like a business, or the guys who wind up with the workers' comp audits, who wind up with the lawsuits, who wind up owing thousands of dollars in extra interest. So, you know, it's a business. Treat it like a business. You know, if you want a hobby that pays money, take up stained glass.
You know, I'm going to say that. So in the recent past, especially, I've been asked a decent amount about, you know, would I start coaching people, you know, kind of a thing. And so the reason I bring that up is simply that what you're saying about the coaching side. And I am in no way talking about anybody that's in this industry and that's coaching. Okay. But I think it's important to look at what you did. You reached outside this industry. You went outside this industry for somebody that would coach you on the business side. And I think that that's super important. I know that gets away from the family side of it a little bit, but I want to bring that up because for me, that shows true business acumen. You're headed in that direction, whether you decide to sell or not decide to sell. But I got us off track because I was thinking family, but then this wasn't about family. But that to me is centered on the business aspect of it, and I'm happy that you went that direction. Sorry, I got off track there, but you know. Soon.
So Daniel, Big Ben has what kind of incentives, and that's Henry. What kind of incentives do you build into your pay structure to keep your guys motivated?
Here in Rocky Mount, we have once they get on the truck, well, once they get on the truck by themselves, every week that they don't have any callbacks, they'll get $100 each bonus. And that is as long as they stay on schedule, get everything done, and don't have any callbacks, then they'll get $100 bonus each. That's every week.
Very nice. That's a substantial bonus there.
And for me, I went with $2 an hour as a bonus. So it's a structured bonus where they go 6 months without getting paid that bonus. But then after the 6 months, they got 3 months worth of the bonus. But that bonus kind of helps keep things in check, because as that bonus builds up, maybe it's $1,500. They get a callback, whatever that callback cost me. Let's just throw out round numbers to keep it even for me. But let's say that callback cost me $300. I'm taking $600 from your bonus because it didn't cost me $300. That's my hard cost. Right now, you're not off doing another job, or you're not doing this. If you break a vase, if you do things wrong, then you get docked on your bonus pay. And that was really a good thing for moving people and keeping them motivated, because they want their money.
Yep. That's why I like the way we've got it set up.
We for a while, we did a cumulative bonus, and it's a lot easier to do cumulative type bonuses. And eventually we did away with it and just did a flat bonus. But we would do a cumulative bonus on residential of X percent, and on commercial of a smaller percentage. But and it might only be $15, $20, for a house, but it was done cumulatively, so that bonus would come in every 2 weeks. But if there was any callbacks during that 2 weeks, the whole bonus would be at jeopardy there. So, the bonus may be, $200, $300, but, the callbacks could take the whole bonus and possibly make it go away. So, looks like you've got to say that again.
That it can cost a lot of money to have to go back.
Oh,
Absolutely.
Lord, yeah, that's the most expensive trip you'll ever make to a house. Looks like you've got a fanboy out there in YouTube land, Daniel.
I'm kind of
by
the way.
Chemical burn.
And somebody's wondering if Henry is hiring out there. So
everybody is hiring. Let's just face the facts. Everybody is hiring. And when should you?
Well, and honestly, you should always be hiring, Doug. You honestly should. You should always be collecting resumes. I mean, like we talked to the guest about a couple of weeks ago. If you hear somebody, was it Jeremy or the person before Jeremy? If you see somebody you like, they have good customer service skills. I mean, they wow you. They're in a restaurant. They're at a service station. Get their name and number and build that. Always be hiring, or at least always be fishing for a new hire.
I actually missed out today. I was at Lowe's today, and I was looking for a specific product, and the ladies at the register, I mean, it was a mess. And then I came back to the ladies at the register, and I'm like, look, can you just call somebody and ask them where it's at? Because in the deal online, it gave me the wrong aisle and all this kind of stuff. And there was this kid, and he says, what are you looking for? And I said, what it was that I was looking for. And he goes, oh, that's on this aisle and this, and it's on the left-hand side. Great. Perfect. I took off. And then it hit my brain, and I'm like, dang, that's the guy that I want to hire, right? Because he took the initiative. He knew what he was doing, all that kind of thing. So I went back to make him an employee of Cajun Soft Wash, because I could have referred him that direction, and it would have been a good thing. But he was gone by the time I got back there. But again, we talked 2 weeks ago, Ray, about carry some business cards, right? But the business cards aren't about your business. They're about hiring for your business. And when you run into somebody like that, give them that card. I would even go so far as to say, give family member and friends that card. Hey, if you get somebody that has exceptional service, hand them a card and say, these people hire.
That's actually a great idea, Doug. I mean, absolutely. That is a
You should
fantastic.
really be a business coach.
Ah. There you go. All right. So look, just to, I got to mention it. Don't forget, gentlemen, that the huge convention is coming up. The link that's there right now is for the tickets. If you are a Spray Wash Pro member, Ray, what do we have going on for Spray Wash Pro members? Do you remember? I'm putting him on the spot. Metal roof cleaning and other.
Oh, the metal roof cleaning class. That's right. Yeah, you're gonna have to. You. It's been a Monday, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It has
You
been
have
a
to
horrible
send
Monday.
an email. If you're a pro member, send an email to info@spraywashpro.com, info@spraywashpro.com, and register for that class at the huge convention. It's free to pro members. It costs, I can't remember what the cost is if you're a non-pro member, but look at that link right there. Courses.spraywashacademy/2022 huge convention. That has everything that we're doing there at the huge, and it's going to be a good time.
Yep, it will be. Yeah, we've got a pretty cool metal roof cleaning class on there. I was actually in a couple of forums this afternoon, very briefly, and saw people asking questions about metal roofing, and I just don't answer a lot of questions in forums anymore unless it's Spray Wash Academy, because I can't stand reading the information that I see out there. There's just such bad information out there. And guys, I'm telling y'all, if you're relying on the University of Facebook or YouTube College as your main source of pressure washing information, man, you better vet who you're getting your information from. You really need to
Vet that seriously.
Make sure that your teachers have actually done what they've said they've done and are who they say they are, because otherwise, you could really have a problem.
And it happens a lot. How many times do you see that kind of stuff? And you're just like, some of the advice you see, and it's amazing.
Even when I ask Ray for advice, I'll always ask 2 or 3 other people.
I don't blame you. I'm the only one that answers you, though. So, just a small
Everybody
fish. Oh, Henry, you're not a small fish. Let's see. I'm about 5 months into the pressure washing business, located in North Texas. Business a little slow, but the business I do has paid well. Excellent.
You know why? Do you know why it's slow in North Texas?
Why?
Because TJ Caloff's in there and he's rocking it.
Yeah, TJ does what he wants to do. I tell you,
but he's in North Texas. He's taking all the business.
It's true. Charlie, you sneak on in, buddy. You're always welcome. Some Galvalume in my feature that I've washed before. Gonna be fun. You have to stop in and tell me about it, Henry. You probably know the house. I'll give you some tips on it if it's the one I'm thinking of. So,
we did one this morning. We were supposed to do it was a house wash, but it was just a bare roof. It wasn't tinted or painted or anything. And it was 96 degrees Friday afternoon when we were supposed to do it. So we rescheduled that so it stayed the same pretty silver that it is.
Yes.
And even this morning, it was in the 70s, but we soaked that thing down with water before we started spraying the house. And then when we're rinsing the house, we're rinsing that roof too, just from any overspray, because it'll eat it up quick.
Yeah. Oh, it will, and it will be irreversible. Andrew's saying everybody thinks they have all the right answers. What worked for some may not work for the next person. But it goes even further than that. There's a lot of guys who haven't done what they say they've done, and they will give you wrong information out there. They're literally tossing darts at a board, or they're parroting information that they've seen before. You know, they might be saying, well, yeah, that needs 50% bleach on there, but then they forget the part about, yeah, but I'm soaking everything with water for an hour before I put that 50% bleach on it, and then I'm hitting it with multiple coats of Agent Holt afterwards. You know, so it gets lost in translation there a little bit, because some people just they've heard this and they just want to parrot the information. So,
let me ask you something. So this goes for business and for employees, but let me ask both of you guys, what do you think is more important? Do you think motivation is more important, or do you think dedication is more important? Daniel?
For employees?
Yeah. Well, first, let's go. Do you think for employees, and do you think for yourself, is motivation or dedication more important?
For me personally, I don't really tell the difference. For employees, I think that dedication would be more important than motivation.
Ray, what do you think? Motivation or dedication?
motivation or dedication?
I'm motivated because I am dedicated.
Yeah, I mean that's a hard call between the two of them, because I mean you could be a dedicated idiot. You know, I mean, or you could be I mean, you've got to have the motivation to want to learn. You know, I would dare say motivated is more important than dedication, because if you're dedicated, I mean, I've known guys that have been very, very dedicated, but they just don't get it all the way. You know, they could be
That's different.
That's
different. If they don't get it, that's different than motivation.
Well, no, I'm saying they're very dedicated to you, but they just don't get it. You know, I mean, you know, so they're not motivated to learn, or they're not. I don't know. It's a hard call. I mean, those two are very, very similar, but at the same time, I see where you're going. And y'all, excuse me 1 second. I got to bow out for 1 minute.
All right. So while he bows out, I'm going to give all the right answers, right? Because Wild West to me has it right, Charlie Daniels has it right, and Michael has it right. Because dedication breeds motivation. You can have somebody as motivated as they want, and they can sit there and say, man, I want this, 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 I want this. But if they don't do anything, they don't dedicate to actually moving forward and doing anything. So the reason I bring this up is we're talking about employees. I would look for somebody who's not just motivated, right? When you're looking through and you're asking those questions about, you know, before in that hiring process, look for somebody who's going to be more on the dedicated side. You may get somebody who's doesn't seem as motivated, but they seem dedicated. And so if they're like, yeah, you know, man, I really don't know much about it, but I'm willing to learn. And they're showing that dedication versus, yeah, man, I'm ready to just go and get it, man. I'm ready to hit it hard and, you know, all that. And yet you're scheduled to interview for 5 a.m. They showed up at 5:10 or 5:15. They might be motivated, but they're not dedicated to doing what it is. And it's the same thing with you as a business owner. You can be as motivated as you want, right? You could sit there at YouTube University and, you know, Facebook and all that all day long because you're motivated. But you're not going out and you're doing a damn thing about that motivation that you have. So you need that dedication that breeds that motivation to be able to get. And so I'd much rather have a dedicated employee over a motivated employee any day of the week. Right now, there's different times when you might want somebody that's more on the motivated side, but you see where that's at. Where dedicated, I think, is more important than motivated. What are your thoughts about that?
I agree. I mean, that's why I said that I thought for employees that dedication would trump motivation. And the reason I used to be in a pizza business, and the guy that owned it, his dad didn't speak any English. He's from Italy, and one thing he used to say is, "You could be the best pizza man in the world, but it doesn't mean anything if you don't walk through that door."
Yeah, absolutely.
It's true.
And that's always stuck with me. So if you're dedicated, you know, and I like the dedication breeds motivation. I haven't heard that
It
before,
absolutely does.
but I know if I can get somebody to show up through that door every day, that is better than me having to do absolutely everything by myself. That
That's
dedication,
why I left that one up versus the others. I mean, that is it.
yeah.
Did y'all see that we're being joined by both BB Herndon and Trevor Shamblin? I had to walk Tanya out; she was leaving, so. Yeah. So I didn't know if you had posted those up or not. So BB is here in the house, and that good-looking man, Trevor Shamblin, is here.
When he gets his hair cut and he's trimmed up and all that, phew, man.
God, he is just scary, sexy.
That's it. That's it.
Never heard of her?
Because it's off duty, dude.
It's
off duty.
Why? Off duty. That's right.
That's it.
So, dedication trumps motivation.
I believe that very much so. I think you have to, when you're looking for employees, I would be looking for somebody that's more on the dedicated side than the motivated side. And there are, not that I necessarily believe all the tests and stuff that they have out there, but they have tests where you can test employees, you know, pre-screen and look for somebody who's more on the dedicated versus a motivated side. But if you ever do those, make sure they're timed. Like, say you got like 5 minutes to complete this thing, and then we're just going to come in and take it from you. Because if you get that smart guy, he's going to sit there and he's going to think about what's the right way to answer all these questions versus just an immediate response. Because an immediate response, you're going to get the true answer, if you would. So what's your number one hiring practice, Daniel? Or what do you think you've done right in the hiring process, and what do you think you've done wrong in the hiring process?
I've probably done everything wrong that you can think of. I'll tell you, and nobody's going to like this answer. I gave up on hiring. The last couple of people I had, I started Monday through Thursday, 4 days a week, no Fridays, Saturdays, or Sundays, at a little over $42,000 a year. That was their starting. And I noticed I'm getting the same amount of productivity out of $12 and $15 an hour guys. And no one ever stays. It's been. I joked about selling a course at the Huge about how to have high turnover because it's been depressing trying to keep people and get people on. And I know everybody is talking about how hard it is to hire people. I literally just gave up and was just piling stuff on my plate. And then the guy that we're kind of talking about reached out to get a job. And then I hired a friend of his that they used to work together. But before that, in between me giving up, and when I say give up, I mean, I wasn't never going to look again. I wasn't looking at that moment. My business coach was looking for me. There are several different places in the Raleigh area that he was looking. That's one good thing about having a business coach is they don't get overwhelmed with your problems because those aren't their problems. Paying somebody.
They can objectively look at your problems and tell you what you're.
Yeah, I mean, he hears all my complaining and sorrows and all that crap, and he's just taking notes. This is what we need. You know, like I was looking to hire 2 people. He's looking to hire 4.
Exactly.
He's always ahead of it because he's not caught up in the stresses that I'm in. So,
But wait, hold
delegate-
on. You pay him to listen to your like problems and issues and tales of woe?
Well, I'm not going to hire a therapist. I'm a man.
Well, I mean,
I
because
love
I'm really getting screwed out of this whole. I'm getting screwed to this whole friendship thing. I'm just realizing because you're giving that dude money, and you complain just as much to me. So I want you to get paid next time you call.
But I call you and tell you all the wonderful answers that he has. And then you say, hey, we should talk about that.
Trade off, whatever.
I don't know if that qualifies.
You know, but you know, Doug and I were, I just mentioned this to somebody the other day who I do a little coaching with, informal coaching, and I said, you know, because he was bemoaning the fact of some of his employees were really just awful. And he's got 7 employees, and he said, you know, really just at least 4 of them just suck. And I said, you know, he's like, what would you do? And I said, fire them. I said, get rid of the 4 that are awful. And here was my logic on that, because I mean they're wrought with callbacks, they're wrought with having to get back, you know, just callbacks and stuff not getting done right. And I said, you know, back whenever I had my company, I proved very successfully that people will wait for you
Absolutely
for 4 to 6 weeks. And if they're not, then I had people like Henry here that was one of my referral guys that I would send referrals out to. No, Ray, look, we want to use you, but we're having a party in 2 weeks and the house has got to be clean. I'm sorry, we're on some gigs. There's no way we can fit you in. Call Henry at Big Ben. Okay, fantastic. And as I was telling this gentleman, I said, so is it better to make them wait and possibly lose them, or go and give substandard service and definitely lose them? Because if your employees suck and you're not able to unsuck them, make them unsuck, and they go do a bad job, well, now you're done with that customer.
And you're not getting them back. It's different when you lose them altogether.
Yeah. I mean, you're going to have to go back and do touch-ups, and they're not going to be happy with you. I think Doug's getting alien abducted or something there.
I'm seeing that.
Can I touch on that, Ray?
Yeah, please.
So it's funny you say that. I just got a text at 8:40 from probably it's a very large residential customer of mine I've had for several years. He said, Daniel, and I've got him scheduled, I think mid-June. He said, please send a different crew than you have last year. They missed several things, and they were not up to your usual standards. Thank you.
There you go.
I said, it'll be me there cleaning your home. He said, okay, no problem then.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
and hey,
the difference though is I have that relationship built with them. Now, I did go back to that house and touch up a lot of things, but the simple fact is he's letting me know ahead of time he doesn't want anyone to come back and give touch-ups. He wants it done right the first time, which is how it's supposed to be done. But without that relationship,
100%, because if you didn't have that relationship, you would never even probably know that. You would just get sorry, we're going with somebody else, you know?
Yeah.
So Henry's talking about stealing things from me. MTH, I'll get to you in just a sec on here. Unsuck, the word
Definitely
of the day. Trevor. And Trevor, we were actually talking about this a couple weeks ago and earlier before you joined us. Best way to find employees is to hire someone that's already doing a good job for someone else. There you go. If a guy at Home Depot helps me and goes above and beyond, I hand him the card, tell him to give me a call. And if he feels like he's not being appreciated for being the best employee in this place, because I will appreciate an employee like you. You're literally talking about what we you should have been here earlier. That's all I can say, because, we said the same thing. Amen. And you said it better than we did.
I'll even go one further on that, Ray. When you're sitting there and you're talking to that guy, and let's go with Trevor's example. You're at Home Depot. You start talking to the guy, and he says, you know what? I really like it here. Okay. I'm really not looking for a job. I like it here. Don't stop there. Ask him, well, what is it that you like about working here? Okay. Because if he says, well, I like the money, I like the benefits, I like the people, find out what it is that is motivating that person to want to stay at that job, because you'll be surprised to find out a lot of times it's not money. He might only be making
it could be the culture.
14, 15 bucks an hour, and you're offering him 42 bucks an hour, right? It's not
Could
the
very
money
well
that
be
he
the
wants,
culture
that
that
culture.
he's enjoying, you know?
So ask those questions.
The friendships, the camaraderie, the culture. I get every Sunday off. I get every, I mean, you know, I punch a clock. I have to come in at, you know, 7 to 3. I mean, it could be that, you know, but you don't know what somebody's hot points are until you really ask them.
It might be something like, I got a child that has cancer and I need to have I need to have this extra time off or whatever. You never know what the motivation is.
Hey, MTH, fire away about that limestone question. We got time for it.
Yeah, stick it out there.
So go ahead and type her up there. And Mike said here saying advertise for a salesperson, a roof sprayer had to put a time limit on the salesman. Yep. And all the guys that showed up for the roof sprayer job were over 225 pounds. Yeah.
You know what though? Even if they're over 225 pounds, if they know what they're doing, they can do the job. I mean, there's a lot of guys in this industry that are over 225. I'm just saying.
There's some chunky monkeys out there. I mean, God knows I was over that for a while. I have been losing weight and hair. If anybody has been losing hair weight.
Yeah. I mean, I totally get the whole weight thing because I mean the ladders and the safety and all that kind of thing. But like, you know, even for me, I don't. Look, if you smoke, great. That's great on you. Okay. But I don't like to hire smokers. Okay. Because I don't want them smoking on the property or in the house or, you know, those kinds of things. And that's a hang up I had to get over. And it's the same thing with weight. It's something that if they can do the job, do it great and do it effectively, you might be missing out on a really good employee just because of their weight. Now, if they're way out of shape and they can't keep up, that's something different.
And I was going to say, Andrew, and actually TJ doesn't have a large company. TJ, I love TJ because he does exactly what he wants to do. He turns down the jobs he wants to turn down. He does the jobs he wants to do. He and his beautiful wife, Grace, work together. But North Texas Power Washing, TJ Kalhoff, very, very dear friend.
North Texas Power Washing.
But super good guy. Us fat men are discriminated against. The cat's out of the bag, Jacob.
There you go.
I was walking roofs when I was 360 pound years ago.
And you've lost a lot of weight. What's your weight now, Trevor? I mean, if you want to get into that, let's get into the female discussion of how much do you weigh?
He's down 70 pounds.
Yeah. He's been losing some weight. He's been doing good.
Like I said, he's a sexy man whenever he cleans up.
I was going to say a lot of it was the haircut.
Yeah.
And Michael J., you're right. I mean, weight is a factor, but there are ways of distributing that weight. I mean, trust me, I don't want to hire somebody that's overweight either. I mean, that can't do the job. But if they can do the job and they know what they're doing, that's the only direction I'm going there with you, brother.
So MTH is saying brick storefront limestone accents posted on spray wash. Want to do test spots with SH and one restore this week. Lift not necessary. Yeah, I think I remember this. Heavy pre-wet post rinsing with Agent Halt, and you know the Natural Stone Institute, which I think we have the directions at Spray Wash Pro in the library there. They say that And I know One Restore is a pretty popular chemical, but it is an acid, and acid can have some pretty detrimental effects on stuff. Even the Natural Stone Institute recommends bleach, SH as a recommended cleaner for limestone. And I've done tons of limestone with SH, and it's my favorite thing too. Light pressure, do a lot of rinsing on there. The rinsing because you want to like remove the salt crystals that are in there. And that's another reason that you want to spray it with Agent Hulk whenever you're done, because it's a salt neutralizer as well. So you want to kind of flush those salt crystals out on there.
And you have to remember with that to rinse from different angles and you're getting water into all the little pores and if you're just rinsing one direction, you may not get it all out. Switch around, rinse several different directions on it.
Yeah. I'm looking for something real quick on Montgomery Hall and I got this great picture. In fact, we used to use it for the intro pictures of this and before and after of me looking up at some limestone at Florida State University that was just it was one of the older buildings on campus, I believe, built in either the 1920s or 1940s, and pure hand cut limestone. And bleach was the answer for it. We were so scared to do any kind of acid that could eat away at the finish on that, because you really can. I mean, the acids can eat away at these finishes, eat away at the So bleach is attacking the organic stains. The acid is actually attacking the calcium that's in there, and that can cause you some issues that you want to be real careful about.
I learned about the harmful effects of bleach actually long before I got into this industry. I was a commercial diver by trade. And we caught a shark one time while we were offshore and, gutted him all up, did all that kind of stuff. And I wanted the teeth, I wanted that big smiley thing. So I had it all out and I put it in some bleach to, brighten it up, get rid of the meat, all that kind of stuff. And it actually ended up eating the bone and all that of the shark or the cartilage of the shark. So all I really had was this mush and some teeth. And so that's when I really learned about bleach. And so it is true that if you go too hot and you leave it set, look, it's there to eat that stuff up. And so that's why rinsing is so important. That's why neutralizing is so important. Think about those things when you're doing these types of jobs.
And I want to share. I just found this over here. Let me share over here. And I apologize for these are completely unfiltered pictures on it. But, here's one of the Montgomery Hall at Florida State University. And, so this is one of these archways. And you can see, and that's literally either a limestone or a sandstone that's on there. Here's where the bleach is actually, so this whole thing was black, and you can see it killing the organic growth on there. And you saw that arch beforehand, and here it is, afterwards. Again, apologize for the goofy look on there, but, and people don't realize how soft that limestone is, but notice along in here, the weathering of there. So look under the arch where the limestone is out of the weather. It's actually pretty smooth. Look at where the biologics and the weather has just eaten this away. You really don't want to use that high pressure on there. It can be bad,
So a lot of times you'll get people that will say, yeah, but bleach is so harmful to the limestone. Well, what is more harmful? The bleach or the high pressure? It's more about getting rid of. You don't want to leave the bleach set, right? You want
to neutralizing the bleach, yeah.
So high pressure versus the corrosiveness of the bleach. Which one would you rather have?
Yeah, you're gonna have yes, the lesser of two evils. Which one? What You got to have something that's somewhat corrosive. Okay, Daniel officially looks creepy now that the light's off.
Yeah, ocean lights. Give me a second. I've been still too long.
He's trying to give me some SOPs on the low. Ray found Jesus that week. So
got these huge windows in here, so it's great during the day if the light cuts off. But if it cuts off at night, then yeah, it just gets creepy.
Yeah.
Gets a little creepy at your place.
Yep. It's very
that is truly an amazing that is an amazing building you're at. That was and so this building, and it wasn't just one or two places on this thing that had the limestone. It was every bit of the every bit of this building had these just crazy either limestone or precast accents on there, plus the antique brick, and that was a crazy project that wound up being crazy, amazingly good when we were done. So
that's making me think of another project that I want to bring up, but I got to try to find it here first. One of my favorite jobs, to be honest with you.
business coaching.
All right, let me see if I can bring this one up. This isn't stone though. This was something different. But since we're sharing, let's go here.
So amazing.
And it's funny because I'm in the middle of writing something, and this is where it's so important, MPH, to understand the SOPs and stuff, and to understand, to be able to talk that, because if you go to the the SOPs of natural stone and what it says about not using high pressure and not using this and not using that, and you guys. This is the scientific selling that we talk about at Plant and Property Protection. This is what we're actually sitting here telling people about, going, and it's more so than just telling someone, hey, we can do this. But by the time you get done talking to them, they're just going, poof, holy crap, this guy knows more about washing than anybody else, that's come out here and talked about it, and the guy that comes out with my DeWalt does 4,200 PSI shooting out at 4 gallons a minute. Well, I've already told her that her manufacturer says, don't wash this at more than 1,500 PSI.
Yeah. A lot of times people tout the PSI when it isn't the PSI that you want to go after. It's the GPM.
Yeah. It's the proper specs of doing it, not the PSI. Dear Lord, for the. It's funny because on the consumer grade, we keep seeing the PSI go up, 42, 45, so and so. On the professional equipment, we keep seeing the PSIs go down. I sold just today, I had a 5.6 gallon a minute at 2,500 walkout, and it was, that was the perfect machine for what this guy's doing.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing I think people need to get to the realization of, is that it's not the PSI, it's the GPM that you want to put out. And sometimes it's a matter of routing it, turning it down, whatever it is.
Oh, I have not thought of Squeegee Ben in a minute. Oh, thank you, Joe. That tickles me. Remember Squeegee Ben? And he had the 2 liter. He had the 2 liter on the end of the stick that he would sling the bleach up there with. It was great. Oh.
There you go.
Somebody, speaking of SOPs and codes, just finished dropping my water reclamation video. Somebody even asked about the laws and codes. Water act knowledge is key, brothers. Yeah, 100%. Mm-hmm. I agree. Learned all about limestone, doing tombstone, faked it till I figured it out. I was lucky. They're a regular customer. Yeah, I have done a few tombstones in my life. Reminded me of Vern. Hey, Vern, what do you mean, Vern? And there we are at the courses again.
Back to the courses again.
Sure.
Just want to keep that friendly reminder out there that, especially for Spray Wash Pro members, I mean, it's not just metal roof cleaning, it's also other types of roofs. And so make sure you send your information to info@spraywashpro.com. Get registered for it. Huge convention. Don't miss out.
And we're doing a couple other things here, too. We're doing the plant and property.
Mm-hmm.
High turnover class held by Daniel Howerton.
High turnover. Yeah. Employee high turnover by Daniel Howerton.
On a side note, you may special do not delete the post that went on for 20 minutes. I think I know the post you're talking about. That was a good one. Yeah, what classes are we doing?
We're doing the basics class to start, and that's at 7:30, I think it is, and then we jump into the plant and property, and then we jump into the roof or the metal roof and specialty coatings cleaning roof class, which is free to pro members, and I can't remember what it is. Like, it's a nominal fee to non-pro members, but like $249 for non-pro and free to pro.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and if you haven't been bit by a galvalume roof, if you don't understand what galvalume is, you are literally playing with fire. I mean, that's the best way I can describe it.
You know what I love the most about galvalume roofs in this industry is that I cannot tell you how many times I get almost chastised in a way where it's like, dude, I've cleaned 1,000 galvalume roofs and I've never had a problem.
Yeah.
Great. I'm glad that you've never had a problem, but you're going to. If you're
going to, exactly
doing it, you're going to have a problem.
The guy who taught me how to wash, I went out and we did, and his guys, it was a very hot day in April, and they nuked one, they fried one, and and I know people have said, oh, it's just basic chemistry to reverse it. I went up there, tried lemon juice, baking soda, white vinegar, One Restore, gutter butter. Nothing reversed that blackness that was on there. Nothing reversed that blackness.
One Restore is one that will generally get rid of it, but I
What's that?
Man, I got to keep saying it. It's the way Ray does 1, 2, 3. Oh, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4.
I can't.
I can't get over it.
I literally, I cannot do it. I mean, it's like this claw hand.
So look, I mean, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when that you're doing galvalume roofs, that it's eventually going to happen. And you need to understand that it is eventually going to happen. I don't care if you've done 100 of them. It's going to eventually happen.
And and this one was actually a standing seam galvalume roof, which the common knowledge from our research says you really don't have a lot of standing seam galvalume roofs. Usually they're the wavy roofs, which is a major boo, boo, boo. But this was one that was a standing seam galvalume roof that damn sure went and turned black in the sun. So.
And keep in mind, when we're talking about galvalume, we're not talking about the painted galvalume.
The coated
There's a lot of galvalume out there you can clean just fine.
All
if
day
it's
long.
painted, it's got color to it. That's different. Now you're no longer cleaning galvalume. You're cleaning the paint that's
You're cleaning the Kynar paint that's on top of the galvalume.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So
today we were taping, and one of the guys was asking why we tape. He's a newer guy. And I told him, I said, we've seen people burn homes down. Simple as that. And it's not a matter of if it'll happen, it's when it'll happen.
Yeah. How many guys have we had who have taken the plant and property course? I mean, and we were absolute pioneers in this. People used to laugh at us and tell us, oh, I've been washing for years and I don't do this crap, and then they say that, wow, like 3 weeks after I was taking your class and thinking this is absolute crap. And
all of a sudden,
like 3 weeks after I did it, I have a fire going off, and I'll never not tape again, Yeah,
It goes
absolutely.
back to the whole start. The start of this whole show tonight was about the mistakes that you've made. Some of the things about mistakes, right? Ray and I didn't develop this stuff because we're super smart. We developed this stuff because we've screwed so much stuff up over time that we needed to develop these techniques. We needed to develop these ways of preventing these problems and fixing the issues that we had caused.
That's right.
I just sent you a picture, Ray. I don't know if you got it.
Where at?
On your cell phone. I don't know if you can pull that up on the screen. This is
Oh my!
This
Oh,
is a house
Daniel, you are wearing pants.
So this is a picture I showed the guy today, and walking around the property, you see all the waterproof.
Exactly,
covers.
and see if people can see what that is. And that is an outlet. And you see how far that's pulled away from the wall right there?
Oh yeah.
But you would have no reason to get that close to that outlet, and you wouldn't know that it was off the wall unless you were taping it.
Yep, that's true.
Imagine standing 10 feet away washing the house. You'd never know. I didn't know it was pulled out until I bent down to tape that.
Well, I'll never forget the one that we made a video on. Mm-hmm. And you remember that? And I actually figured it out because I put the tape on it and realized the box was shifting. And so I was like, that's weird. And I pulled the tape out, and then the whole box came out with me after the first, run of tape on it. And it was like, yeah, this is not secured in here at all. The tabs aren't in there, and it's not waterproof one bit.
Yep. One of the things that we talk about a lot too is that you get some of the veterans of the industry that will say, I have been doing this for 20 years and I have never tripped an outlet. I've never done this. I've never done that. Okay. But then the question comes up of how do you know you've never done that? Yeah. Because, back in the, let's just go back to the olden days where you weren't necessarily using a booster pump or whatever. How do you know you never tripped a receptacle? I'm betting that you have. You just don't know that you have.
In fact,
we were tripping receptacles because, we had our booster pumps were plugged in to the homeowner's receptacle, and it would trip, and we'd be like, "Wow, okay." Now, that's what led to a lot of this, and an understanding of what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
I think there was a lot more trip than people realize.
Yeah, exactly. And then you've ruined a freezer full of meat because a lot of times those outside outlets are on the. I remember doing one with a couple, and it was literally a couple of them. I think of memorable GFIs that I've tripped, and the one craziness, really really nice large house, and like a 4 or 5 bathroom house, and some water got into an outlet on the outside that we missed taping because it was like behind the hot tub or something, which is usually the case. And the GFI that ran that switch was in the upstairs the upstairs bathroom in the bonus room over the garage on completely the other side of the house.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and I was freaking because, I went around this house looking for everywhere that it could possibly be and finally found it up there. Had another one that the master GFI tripped, and for a couple of years they were putting it, and it had to be within like 6 foot of them. They had a master GFI. It had to be within 6 or 8 foot of the panel box. I wound up having to get an electrician out there, and the master GFI was under the Murphy ironing board. So unless you opened the Murphy ironing board up and looked in there and pulled the board down into that position and the plug popped up, that was where the master GFI was.
I love this comment right here, because he's saying, lots of luck. I'm amazed at the cost of some of these homes and how they cut stuff, and it seems stuff put together, leaving this large gaps that birds fly in.
Yeah.
And you look at some of these houses, and they're $1.2 million, and they've got these large gaps and stuff, and they're just not put together very well. it's simply not built the way that it used to be. And these are things that we need to be concerned with in our industry. You have to be.
Yeah, because you know what? You're the one holding the bag. You're the one holding the bag. Whenever
Wasn't this supposed to be about employees?
Yeah, true. Well, guys, we're at 9:20, so probably need to.
I think I'm gonna go to sleep on the couch.
Yeah.
There you go.
What time you got to be up in the morning, Daniel?
5:30.
You're a stud. You're a
Lightweight.
machine. You're an animal.
If I didn't have a family at home, I would probably just sleep here in the office.
Yeah, I've seen that before.
Been there.
All right, before we go, I got to tell my bad beat story at my latest poker tournament. Got to tell it. So I was almost in the money, and pocket aces, the best hand that you can have. And I had pocket aces. A guy that I've been battling raises. I re-raise. Another guy pushes all in. The first guy calls. I call because I got pocket aces. The guy that pushed all in first has pocket aces. The second guy that I've been battling with has pocket kings, and I have pocket aces. When we all flip over, I started screaming, because I knew I was going to lose with my pocket aces. Sure enough, the very first card on the flop,
Another cowboy popped up in the flop.
and the guy goes from having a stack under mine to being one of the chip leaders, and that was my stack. I'm just saying, it was my stack. I deserve that. But that's my bad beat story. I appreciate y'all for listening to us tonight, by the way.
Absolutely. Somebody said a good bourbon. Elijah Craig. Bullet too. Bullet's really good. They're rye and they're bourbon, but I've been an Elijah Craig fan lately. Guys, thank you all for wasting $1.20 of your life. Daniel, thank you so much for being our guest.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
I
like your fancy painting, by the way.
Yeah.
Well, it fits my fancy office.
You guys don't even understand. He's got like chestnut floors. I mean, it's a really cool office. That
You like the tour, Dougie?
Sure, man. Give me the tour.
So, he is wearing pants. Thank God.
Oh yeah.
He wasn't earlier on the pre-show. So.
Let's see, figure out how to turn this.
And y'all keep in mind that this is Daniel has this as a business office. This is not
That's a nice ceiling even.
This is not a work office. This is not this isn't keeping the trucks here. This is a separate office that he has for business.
So we're waiting to have a TV mounted up here. And then we've got a little seating area. 2 desks.
What is that? What is that in the center of the floor?
It's a golf.
That's
Yeah.
a golf. Okay.
So he looks like an executive.
All right. I got it.
I don't get a lot of leisure, so I can play golf there.
I love that floor.
And then we've got our logo out here.
ClearVue.
It's pretty. It's over 200-year-old office space.
Awesome.
So, I mean, you got all the exposed, like the wood up here and that beam, all that's over 200 years old. These floors are the original. So
are you overlooking the river, or did you go for the cheap seats?
yeah, I'm actually right next to the brewery.
Okay.
That's fitting.
Bonus.
No, they just built these out. These are I'm the only one over here. Nobody else is here yet, so it's nice
Quiet.
and quiet.
Peaceful.
Very cool.
How many windows are you going to be replacing from golf balls? Nick wants to know. So
You know, it's funny because as you guys know, I don't drink, but this is a huge brew mill area, and we had a charity thing we did, or we were attending. And my buddies, it was for Derby Day for the Boys and Girls Club. Well, my buddies dressed up as horses. They had these inflatable horses that they wore, and they were hammered. They're like, "Can I get ready in your office?" I was like, "Yes, but you are not playing golf." all I could see is just balls going straight through
the window. Yeah. Hide the balls.
Yeah.
There you go.
So yeah, it's off limits.
Very cool.
All right, guys, we're going to sign off. Daniel, stick around for a minute for a debrief. And guys, thank y'all.
We appreciate y'all very much so. Thank you.